Hey guys, GSUP here, back with another amazing video, and today guys, I have an old story called Math Man that I made all the way back in elementary school. I found these old papers while I was going through some of my stuff, and I thought I would make a revised version of Math Man the story, and put it out there for you guys using some illustrations from Sora AI. So without further ado, I present to you a video I've never made before about an old story I made back in elementary school called Math Man. Enjoy.
Math Man, the story of a superhero who has Amazon Prime and likes to eat crime. Chapter 1, Homework and the Lurking Legend. Once upon a time in the not-so-mathemagical town of Algebraville, there was a kid named Joe. Joe wasn't a bad student, he just hated math, especially when the math came with Sunday night guilt, which it currently did. He had a mountain of math homework due Monday morning, and it was already 10:47 p.m. Panicking, Joe texted Miss Jane, his kind but strict teacher, begging for mercy. Surprisingly, she responded, telling him to come in early tomorrow and she'd help him finish it after class. Joe sighed. He was supposed to spend that time trying out his brand new VR headset he got for his birthday last week. The next day, Joe stayed after class to work with Miss Jane, and while it helped a bit, it still felt like he'd never get through it all. When she said, "We'll finish this tomorrow," Joe just groaned and headed home. That night, something strange happened. Just as Joe drifted off to sleep, a shadowy figure appeared in the corner of his room. Startled, Joe sat up, blinking into the darkness. "Who's there?" he shouted. A voice replied, cool and confident, "My name is Math Man, and I'm here to help you with your homework." Wearing a mask, a utility belt full of pencils, and a shirt with a giant M, the mysterious figure stepped into the moonlight. They worked for 20 straight minutes. Math Man was a literal genius, and by the end of it, every problem was solved. Then, like a calculator in sleep mode, he vanished into the shadows. The next morning, Joe got dressed for school, still dazed from the experience. As he zipped up his bag, the doorbell rang. Joe opened the door, and there he was again. Math Man, this time in broad daylight, pencils on his belt, calculator watch shining, and a confident smirk. "Let's go ace that test," he said. The end of Chapter 1. Chapter 2, Secret Lair and Homework Havoc. Beneath the city streets, Math Man was hard at work in his secret underground lair. Inside, chalkboards glowed with formulas, floating number drones buzzed through the air, and gears spun in controlled chaos. He stood before his latest invention and exclaimed, "It's done! My greatest creation yet, the Math Jack!" A sleek, chrome jetpack fueled by pure brain power, and a bit of nitrogen. Strapping it on, he blasted out of the lair and soared over Algebraville. But peace was short-lived. On the school playground, his nemesis emerged. Mrs. Homework, a former math teacher who had gone rogue. Her villainous plan? Bury students in eternal homework so they'd never have free time again. Spotting her tossing reams of algebra sheets at helpless students, Math Man dove into action. "Stop right there!" he shouted, crashing dramatically through the classroom window. But Mrs. Homework was slippery. She dashed back outside and launched a barrage of quadratic equations like ninja stars. Kids fainted from stress. Panic spread. Math Man tackled her midair in a spinning flying equation slam and confiscated her homework cannon. With a firm wag of his finger and a math pun-filled scolding, he sentenced her to no more homework ever again. Unless it's optional. The end of Chapter 2. Chapter 3, Struggles and Shadows. Back in Joe's world, things weren't looking great. Even with Math Man's help, the test from earlier was due today, and Joe hadn't even started it. His brain just shut off whenever he tried. He was bored, burned out, distracted. That afternoon, Joe found himself in detention for handing in a blank test. Sitting there with a dull pencil and a heavy sigh, he wondered if superheroes ever felt like this. Meanwhile, Math Man sat alone in his lair. "Why do these all suck?" he shouted, tearing up failed blueprints for new gear. His equations weren't solving like they used to. His inventions were glitchy. Even his new calculator watch kept crashing. He was losing his edge. But then, a thought, a wild idea. Maybe the problem wasn't his gear, it was that he was working alone. The end of Chapter 3. Chapter 4, The Final Equation. A week passed. Joe felt like giving up until he heard a knock on his window late at night. It was Math Man. But this time, he looked different. Tired. He human. I need your help, Joe. Mathman invited Joe to his lair, revealing that he'd been watching Joe, not just as a student, but as someone with real potential. Not just in math, but in thinking differently. Mathman showed Joe his blueprints. Together, they brainstormed. Joe, curious, creative, and surprisingly good at puzzles, began sketching new ideas. In 2 days, they built something never seen before. The Math Mobile, a hybrid between a flying whiteboard, a mobile tutoring lab, and a crime-fighting command center. But just as they finished, a siren blared. Mrs. Homework had escaped custody, this time teaming up with the Dropout, a former tech genius who wanted to erase school from existence with his doomsday device. The Forgetinator. Joe and Mathman flew into action. The battle took place above the city in a swirling cloud of numbers and neon. Students below watched in awe as math equations became shields and formulas launched like rockets. Joe even used a calculator drone to hack the Forgetinator midair. With one final move, Mathman shouted, "Joe, solve for X!" Joe calculated quickly and launched the answer into the Forgetinator's core, overloading it and making it explode into harmless confetti made of recycled paper. The day was saved. Back at school, Joe aced his next test, and Mathman, he didn't disappear this time. He walked right into the classroom, unmasked, and handed Miss Jane a shiny new teaching gadget, one that made learning math actually fun. From that day forward, Joe became Math Lad, Mathman's trusted sidekick. Together, they didn't just fight crime, they fought confusion. The end.